Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Chococopter and it has been a minute since I uploaded a video. Whoops, my bad. Um, I just didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to edit a video. I didn't want to do it, but I need to because it's been a while. And I'm sorry. I literally have $2 in the back catalog right now. I need to edit videos of, and this is one of them. So I'm getting it done for you guys. Thank you for sticking around. I'll try to be better at this. I promise. So I made this a little while ago. I had a table at Epic Glasgow, and I was feeling very stressed out about it. So I decided to just make like a little doll really quickly. I like making dolls because it's kind of like it's not like it's a big project, like a big cosplay or something, but it has enough elements in it that it takes up a lot of my mental capacity, which means I don't have time to panic about things. I can't overthink things when I'm thinking about making a doll, okay? So I decided I was just gonna really quickly make a doll for a couple days so I don't have to freak out about certain things at a convention. I have social anxiety, yay! So my plan for this doll, I want to make a mushroom doll. Obviously, everyone wants to make a mushroom doll all the time. I just really want to make a big mushroom head. I want to make a little elf-looking doll. That would be really cute. This is the sketch I did. My original idea was to make like a red doll, and I was going to use a cave club. But I remembered I have a lot of enchantimals, and I never use my enchantimals because the articulation isn't so great. But I decided to just use one because I have this bluey purpley one. It's an elephant girl, and I was like, you know what, this would actually make a very cute little mushroom elf doll, so I'm just gonna use it anyway. So in order to get the doll started off, I just remove all of her clothes and her weird elf ears, not elf ears, sorry, elephant ears. They're really stuck in there. I had to use pliers to get it out really well. And now I'm going to draft her shorts pattern. I've made bloomers before, so I'm just kind of doing it from memory on how to do bloomers and just tracing over her body to make sure hopefully it fits. I'm using a lot of elastic, so even if it fits slightly bad, it should still fit. So in order to make the little puffy shorts, you basically make these shape. You make two of them, sew them together, add some lace to the bottom to make it cute. I also stitch just some elastic to it. I hand stitched all of this because I couldn't bother to get my sewing machine out for such a small project. Also because again I wanted something to distract my brain. And in order to add little beads to her shorts, I did this tactic where you put the beads on a little string and you pull it through, and that lets you just thread things a little easier when the thread is a little bit too thick. next step is I'm going to make her mushroom hat. Now, this is foam clay that I have. I bought it for, there was a bunch of things I was making with them. I can't remember. I have a lot more left over. And I've watched Delightful's video. I saw her make a mushroom doll years ago. She used foam clay to make the hat because it's very lightweight, but you can make a big shape out of it. So I was like, I've got foam clay. I'm just gonna do that too. So first I just kind of shape it. And I used the 2 purple colors. So I'm gonna make this hat purple anyway. So I was like, I might as well just use the purple foam, even though I can paint it after, I guess. And this stuff takes a long time to dry. Like, I think I left it 24 hours, and it was still a little bit squidgy in the middle. So the thicker you make this stuff, the longer you have to wait for it to dry. But yeah, I just play around with it with my hands, and I use my tools to kind of make the gills. That's what they're called, right? The mushroom part of the under part. It's called gills, right? I don't know things about mushrooms. I don't know things about plants. I'm not smart. That's why I make dolls and draw pretty pictures. And that's all I really have to make for this doll, because her top is sculpted on, so I'm just gonna paint it the right color. And she already had shoes, so I'm just gonna paint her shoes, and we'll use those shoes anyway. And I've decided to just leave her hair the way it is. Again, I didn't want to do too much for this doll. It was just mostly a grounding project. So I did the things I wanted to do and didn't do the things I didn't, like making shoes or making a wig. I use my tools in order to get into those little creases because the doll's so small. But the my sculpting tools I used melted in the plastic. The plastic melted in the acetone because this is it's not silicone. I think you can use silicone with acetone, but yeah, this little plastic tool you cannot. So it's supposed to be a little dotted tool, and the dot part fell off of it. Whoopsie. And then, as I wanted to make her like a cute little elf girl, I wanted to give her some elf ears. So I'm going to use 2-part Apoxie sculpt in order to do that. I'm also doing it to cover up the weird little holes in the side of her head for where her elephant ears were, which confused me at first, because I realized all these Enchantimals are supposed to be like little animal girls or boys or whatever, but they have human ears, and then they also have the animal ears. It's like I'm starting the cat boy debate all over again. Like, do cat boys, should they only have 1 set of ears or 2? 2 sets of ears always looks weird to me. Like, I get it, because if you don't put the human ears on the side, they look strange, but there's something weird about cat boys having 4 sets of ears. But yeah, all these Enchantimals have 4 sets of ears as well. But anyway, I use the elf ears to cover up the hole in the side, and I also want to sculpt some cute, like, little droopy elf ears on her as well. With Apoxie sculpt, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to wear gloves, just because there's technically a chemical reaction going on when you mix the 2 parts together and it starts to harden. And I think you can get allergic reaction if you hold like certain plastics that are curing too much in your hands. Don't quote me on that, but do wear protection anytime you're using something that says it should or you're not too sure about it, okay? Also, I'm using a lot of water to kind of smooth out the shapes of the ears as well. I think it's supposed to like wait for it to dry a little bit before you smooth it. But as much as this was a grounding project for me, I am still not a patient person. So I was probably doing slightly too much too quickly, which meant every time I sculpted one bit, another bit kind of shifted place where it wasn't supposed to shift. So sometimes you need to sculpt, wait a little bit for wait an hour or so, and go back and sculpt again. Then once the ears are dry, I'm going to try and color match the ears to her skin. I'm usually pretty good at color matching, at least I always feel like that's a thing I'm fairly good at. But trying to color match the skin is actually really hard, because I realize her skin, especially her face, has a little bit of like a pearlescent quality to it. It's not all just one matte shine. There's like a little bit of like flakes in it to make it a kind of grayish purple thing. So I wasn't able to get that color perfect, but I did keep trying, and I got fairly close, I think, at least. And also later on, I'm going to cover it up with a lot of blushing. I think blushing does a world of wonders when you try and color match things. If you blush it enough, no one will notice. At least that's what I tell myself. That's what I tell myself, so I don't cry at night. Also took this opportunity to start painting the mushroom hat and her shoes and her little model on top as well. For the mushroom hat, I painted it a light color first, and then I'm gonna go in with a darker color to like bring out the texture. I should have done it the other way around. I realized I should do dark first, because then the darkness can get into all the grooves, and then dry brush the light color on top to bring out the highlights on top of it. But I did it the wrong way around the first time, but it's fine. I'm gonna fix it afterwards, don't worry. So even though the mushroom hat is already the correct purple I wanted, I decided I'm still going to paint it because I have this metallic paint set and there's purple metallic paint in there. So I thought making it metallic purple would actually be really cool. So I did that as well. Also, I don't think you're supposed to leave like straight up phone unsealed, like not putting anything on top of it. So I thought giving it a layer of paint would probably be better anyway. I think I do put matte Mod Podge on it afterwards as well. So maybe I didn't have to do that. But it made it metallic and it made it shiny, so I like it. And this is the part where I dry brush the darkness on top, and again, it doesn't look good. I'm doing it this way. I don't know why my brain told me to do it this way instead of the other way, but yeah, I paint over this in the end, and I do it the correct way, which is dark first, dry brush light on top. Here's a question for you guys as well. When you see like fictional mushroom, like hats, fairies, that kind of things, do you like the overly cartoony dots, or do you like the more realistic dots that like mushrooms actually look like? I always like the cartoony ones, but maybe I should do more realistic mushrooms one day. I don't know. I'm not like the biggest fungus guy. I'm not a fungi. I'm sorry, that was dumb. So I like the cartoony dots. It also reminds me of Toad. I love Toad. Now it's face up time. So I spray her with some MSC, wait a little bit, and then I start doing her blushing first. So again, I'm using like purples and blues to kind of blush her ears to try and color match them a little bit closer to her skin tone. And then I also put in some peachy pinks for her cheeks and her forehead. I can't remember words good. Also for her lips, and then I start blocking out her face. I don't know why I did the blush before I did the face. I probably should have did like the sketch for the face first and then the blush, because now I'm touching her face all over and the blush is gonna move around and fall off before I spray her again. But it's fine. Again, I did this because I didn't want to think about my life. Thinking about my life makes me sad. Instead, I think about doll. So I'm trying to stay fairly close to the sketch I did for these like big bubble lashes. I always talk about bubble lashes and I don't feel like I usually don't do them too well, but this time I think I did it a little bit better. Like what I had in my head was kind of what ended up happening here on the doll. I also gave her the little like Shiba Inu eyebrows because those are my favorite kind of eyebrows to do. I think it always looks really cute, especially on a doll. And it's really fun. This doll is so tiny that I'm surprised I was able to get more detail than I thought out of it. Sometimes I watch doll artists do so much detail on such a small surface. I don't understand how they do that. I'm not that detailed yet, especially with my eyelashes. I can't get just little flicky eyelashes in or anything hyper realistic. But I think the closer I stick to what I know how to do, which is more of like an anime style, cutesy kind of look, the better my dolls end up looking. I mean, I do like experimenting with different looks just to see what it looks like. That's kind of the fun of it all. But yeah, the closer I stick to things I know how to do, the better it always comes out. Isn't that always the way? And obviously when I feel like I can't get any more layers out of my pencils, I go to my tried and true, get out a brush and pick up the pigment from my pens and not my pens, my pencils, and brush it onto the doll. You could also do this with just straight up watercolor, I guess, and I've seen people use wash. I'm tempted to get wash, but I also have so many paints in my set. I have so much acrylic and watercolors. I don't need more paint. I don't have space for more craft things. Have you seen my room? It's a mess. You haven't seen my room, which is good, but yeah, it's awful. And anytime I'm not building up colors, I'm also doing some sprays of MSC. I don't think I did a lot of sprays of this in the end. I think I might have done 2 or 3 layers, which is as most as I ever do with any doll. I'm not a big layers guy with MSC. I think one day I want to experiment doing more layers and really building up those layers over time to see what I can get out of it. But for now, especially while I'm kind of poor and I don't want to spray that much MSC, I'm good with the 3 to 4 layers. And now that her face up's done, I can take her out of her little head wrap and we can see her face. I also used the little mushroom dots on the sides to kind of cover up the joint job between her fake ears and her real skin, and I think it helps cover that up a little bit. So for her hair, I want to give her 2 big braids, but I decided I want to give her 2 little braids in the front as well. So I'm using this, I'm using the needle to try and basically part her hair correctly. Because when you part a doll's hair where you haven't put in the hair follicles yourself, you're gonna end up with little gaps in the hair, not the hair, the scalp. You're gonna end up with little. When you part the hair, you end up with little gaps so you can see the scalp. So you want to kind of cover that up. So I'm using my needle to kind of pull hair back and forth to try and cover up that bald spots, but I can also still bring the hair down where I want it to go. So this is quite fiddly. It's a little bit of annoying, but I'm glad I did it because I think it looks cute in the end. I'm also going to use my bead technique again. I like how I say my bead technique. I didn't come up with this. I saw someone else do it at some point. Of putting beads on a piece of string and then threading that string around what you want to bead it to get the beads on. So this is how I get beads onto doll hair if I want to put beads into her braid. It's very fiddly and it's very annoying, but I think it was worth it in the end because she looks really cute. But yeah, basically you get a little piece of string or twine or whatever. You put the bead through, you put 2 parts of the string through the bead, so you have a little loop on one end. Then you put whatever you're trying to get the bead onto into that loop. I usually put the bead on first, but this hair was so thick I was really struggling with it. So I put the string around the hair, and I put the bead on the 2 little bits of string, and then you pull the string and that pulls the hair through the bead. Try not to put too much hair on the string, especially if your hole is really, really small, because you can overfill it a tiny bit. If you overfill it too much, that string won't actually pull it through and the string will just snap and you have to start again, which is not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, try to accurately guess how much hair you can actually pull through that hole. As you can see, I was struggling a little bit, so I did end up using my pliers to really tug at it. But even that was tricky because my pliers are riveted, and the thread was just going through the rivets. So just experiment and keep trying. And when that's done, I just put the whole thing into a braid on the side, and it's really cute. It's kind of sticking up a lot. I probably should have boiled washed this, but I just couldn't be bothered. Couldn't be bothered. I know that's what I say all the time, but I just really couldn't. But yeah, I finished braiding up her hair. The back is a little bit more gappy than I wanted it to be, but it's gonna be covered up with the hat, so I just didn't want to do anything with it. And that's all the parts are done. So she has I changed her shorts into little dungarees. I'm actually going to change it back into little shorts again. You're gonna see after this. Painted her shoes. I had this little potion bottle that I used to use as a hair accessory, but the hair part fell off of it. So I just had a little tiny potion bottle that was blue. This is what this doll was kind of based off as well. I saw that potion bottle. I was like, oh, I'll make a little blue pixie doll then. Even though I wanted to make the red originally, but because of the potion bottle, that's also why I chose this little elephant girl. And I repainted her shoes to match the fit. And now we just have to put it all together. And this is her. She is done. She kind of reminds me of, I don't know if anyone, okay, so back in the day, I mean, I still listen to the show, but I got kind of popular on the social medias because I was a very big NADPOD artist. You know what NADPOD is? It's called Not Another D&D Podcast, and a character called Moonshine, and she was a crick elf. So she was like this country bumpkin elf, and I used to draw her with purple skin and blue hair, and she's like a mushroom elf. She's a druid of spores. So I realized this doll just looks like Moonshine, kind of. She just looks like a mini Moonshine, so I've been calling her Mini Moonshine or M&M. But maybe she needs a new name. Maybe Mimi. Maybe Mimi for M&M. Or maybe instead of Moonshine, her name could be Clips or something like that. I don't know. Give me some suggestions for names in the bottom. She's not perfect, obviously. To get her hat to stay on her head, I ended up gluing a magnet to the back. But now her hat kind of sits slightly above her head, which looks kind of silly, but it's fine, it's whatever. And the dungarees, I tried to get them to attach her body using elastic, but I didn't do it right, and it wouldn't actually get on her body properly, so I had to cut that part off. So now she just has the puffy shorts. You can kind of see the gap where the enchantment animals has that little like divot in their hips where their skirt's supposed to go. So that wasn't great. But I still did it because again, I have so many of these dolls, and it was a mini project just to help me, you know, try to rule away my anxieties. And I think it did do that successfully. So even though it might not be the most successful doll customize I've ever done, it was successful in my need to not think about things. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this project. I'll try to get my next doll video out sooner than this one took. I'm really sorry about that. And I also need to work on my the 7 maidens doll. I haven't started the next one yet. I'm really sorry. The next video probably is not going to be that because I have another doll that I made. But the doll video after that, which I made best to make another the 7 maidens doll. I don't know which character yet, but look out for that. And thank you so much for following me. Please subscribe if you like doll stuff and you want to support me. Yeah, I will see you guys next time. I don't know how to end these still. Bye.